This is Sarita at Vine Me Up, and you are sipping in the Swirl Suite.
I'm Leslie Freelo with Vino 301, and you are sipping in the Swirl Suite.
This is Tanisha, Girl Meets Glass, and I'm sipping in the Swirl Suite.
I'm Glennis,
Welcome to the
and you
Swirl
are
Suite,
sipping in the
everybody.
Swirl
Happy
Suite,
holidays. Hey,
and
y'all.
I am at
Hello.
Vino Noir.
Happy
Enjoy.
holidays.
Also known as the
Merry
Swirl
Christmas.
Suite.
Yes,
I'm
Merry
going to
Christmas.
say it.
Swirl Suite.
Merry Christmas.
This is Rob and
All of
Bob
the
Buckus, and
above.
I'm sipping in the swirl
Exactly.
suite.
You just have to come get me. Right. Happy Kwanzaa.
All that good stuff.
And so, welcome to the Swirl Suite. I'm Sarita. You can follow me at Vine Me Up. You can also follow the Swirl Suite at Swirl Suite on all social media. And who do we have today? Glennis and Leslie, tell everybody where they can follow you.
Well, yeah. Glennis and Leslie. No. Okay. Hi, everyone. Glennis from at Vino Noir on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So it's at Vino_Noir. And also I can be found on Facebook and Twitter as Irie Wine as well. Glad you're here this evening, and hopefully everybody has done most of their holiday shopping so they can actually enjoy the holiday instead of rushing around doing the last minute shopping. But well, welcome to the Swirl Suite.
Leslie.
Cheers. Hi, I'm Leslie. And I can't wait to tell you about my cocktail. I am Leslie, and I am with Vino 301 Wine Concierge, all things Maryland wine. And you can find me on Instagram at Vino 301 or Twitter at Vino 301 Wine and Facebook too. And you could go to our website, Vino 301.
So, will you have to tell us what's in that beautiful cocktail that you're drinking?
So it is sparkling wine with a pomegranate simple syrup.
Oh, did you make this simple syrup yourself?
I did. So you take, you can at Costco, you can buy the big things of pomegranate seeds. So you don't have to try to like take them all out. And you take a cup of that. They're not called seeds. I'm not sure what they are. Not that educated yet, but you take those and you take a cup of water and a cup of sugar and you boil it, all of them together for a hard boil for, I would say, about 10 to 12 minutes. And the seeds don't disappear. Like, when you make cranberry sauce, how the cranberries, but they don't disappear. So then what you have to do is scoop the seeds out and put it in a separate bowl. And then take the simple syrup and put that to the side. And you want it to get cool, even cold, actually.
Okay.
Because really what you want to do is have to show the separation.
Oh, okay.
Of the syrup. And then you put a little teaspoon of the syrup at the bottom of your glass. And then put some of the pomegranates back in there, just a few. And then you're sparkling over there.
Oh, wow.
So which is a perfect welcome, if you're having a cocktail party. And so you can just set the glasses out and put the simple syrup in. And then when people come, just pour. Yes.
That's a really nice holiday cocktail. You got to post that on your website. That's really cute.
Yeah, I was trying to, overly ambitious. I thought I would be able to videotape this, but whatever. We'll get to that later.
And so we have a special guest that we're going to be calling in a few minutes. And Glennis, so you went to Longevity Winery. What was that experience like for you?
Okay. So listeners out there, happy Wine Wednesday again. So we were on the post excursion during WBC, which is Wine Bloggers Conference 2017, and in the Livermore Valley. So everybody needs to live a little more. Love that hashtag, live a little more. They had several urban wineries in one location. So, you have a setup with different vintners, so you can get the biggest bang for your buck. So I was walking around tasting all these other wines. Then I walked over and said, "Oh, that's that's nice longevity wine. I love the heart and the whole logo thing. And then I was looking, he had a iPad set up with a video loop of product placement. And I was like, this, you got product placement with Reese Witherspoon. You got product placement, Big Bang Theory. I was like, oh, I gotta talk to him. Because I was just looking at the video. So then I got really excited, like I usually do, and I started doing the Running Man and started talking all fast, and like I'm doing now. So let me take a breath. So a couple of other bloggers came over, like, yo, you're really excited. I was like, do you see the product placement this wine has? Has anybody tasted this wine before? I've got to learn more about this. And standing there talking to him, and he's at that point of the excursion, they were taking us to a spirit tasting. I looked at Phil. I said, I want to go to your winery. I don't go to no spirits because I'm not a spirits person. Mm-hmm. So we had at least 45 to 50 minutes left on that particular excursion. So some people went over to do some spirit tasting, which was a walk away because it's in an urban, it's considered urban winery, but it's not urban like we know in DC or in the big cities like that, Jersey and other places. Walked over to his winery, which is in like a warehouse area, and walked through the back door. So walked right through where the barrels are, and right into this gorgeous, quaint tasting room, and just tasted with Phil and said, well, you know what? I think it'd be really good to have you on the Swirl Suite. Mm-hmm. And started talking about the Swirl Suite, and I mentioned you ladies. And also, then he started talking about this journey between the vines, which is a documentary about five, including him, 5 Black winemakers and their journey in the winemaking industry. So I was like, oh yeah, we really need to get you on the Swirl Suite. And that's the story in a nutshell, how I met him and asked to have him on the show.
That's amazing. And his wines were good?
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, wines were good too. I bought wine and I bought T-shirts. I already drank the wine, so I'm already drinking a different wine. Leslie, you would love this. I am drinking wine from Provence. That's all it's called.
Me too.
Oh my goodness!
From our trip, yes. So it's delicious. It's a Cab Sauv blend. It's a Cab Sauv and Syrah blend, and it's from Aix-en-Provence, and it is marvelous. Black fruits, leather, wood, a little smoke, a little some earthiness, really full body, great mouthfeel. That's it in a nutshell. Looks like Phil is joining us.
Hello.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing fine. Great to see you again, Phil.
Good to see you too.
I miss your winery and the tasting room. We got to get back out there.
Yeah, you got to get back out there. I'm not there now. I'm at home now.
Oh, okay.
I did my deeds for the day. We bottled today. We delivered out anyway. No, we did a lot today. I see me up in the corner now. I get it. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
There it is. Cool. Well, Phil, we appreciate you being on the show. I know you've had a busy day, but welcome to the Swirl Suite.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me.
Welcome.
Welcome. I'm excited. I'm not going to start running off at the mouth. I'm going to let Sarita do her thing, and then I guess we'll jump in with questions after.
Yeah, I mean, you guys jump in with questions at any time. But okay. My first question is, Phil, how did you and your wife get into wine, and what made you want to open a winery?
You know, it kind of came sideways. I'd always loved wine, but in Southern California, wine is just something you get at the grocery store. So you're not really exposed to real wine or the wine life or the production of wine. But as soon as we moved up into Northern California in the early 2000s, you're in the middle of it. I mean, this is This is Wine Central USA.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one direction you can drive and not be in wine country. I don't care which way you go, you're in wine country.
Right.
So it sort of lent a new meaning to what it was. And the more I saw, the more I wanted to learn, we started making wine at home. And then from making wine at home, we actually started an online wine club. So we built a following. And because we had our wholesale distributor's license, we were allowed to actually integrate some of that wine into the club. So that's how it kind of got started. And, we're both working full time, and it's like, it's corporate America. It's rat race. It's going on. I'd say I'm about empty.
Refill.
I'd have to leave to do that. Anyway, so we started the wine club, and because we were both working full time, we didn't want to just jump head first. So we wanted to start off small. We started off small, ran the wine club and the winery for a while, and finally we converted Longevity Wine Club to Longevity's Wine Club. We lost one member.
Wow.
So so we had a great start when we started the winery, and it's a fascinating process. That's probably why you do it, because once you do it, it's really a fascinating process. So it's never the same. So it's always changing. You're always learning. When you think you know it all, stop.
Really? Do you really ever know it all?
No, never. You never know it all. There's no way. You don't have enough. There's not enough years in your lifetime to know it all. So it's a constant learning process. And it's a learning process that, I learned from these book scholars in wine as my mentors. But the cool thing is now they're learning from me, which is really is total reverse. So it's a great community. I'm really happy to be a part of it. But that's how we got started. We literally started making it in the garage. Then we started making it under the wineries for the wine club. And then we finally found our own little industrial space to start it, and moved all of our 8 barrels at the time into our one little space. We have a couple more barrels in that now.
Yeah, and I can attest to that because I've seen them.
Yes, you can. Exactly.
He brought us through the back door. I loved it. It was the best.
And so when you started making the wine in your garage, what kind of wine were you making?
So in Southern California, I've got this friend who was this wine guy, and he invited all of us to the house for a wine tasting. And he had all this silver oak wine, all the silver oak cab for years and years and years, and I'm like, wow, this is good. This is good. This is the old silver oak. This is before. And it was really good. And for one of my anniversary vacations, he gave me a bottle of wine to take. And it was Syrah. And I'm like, I didn't even know what Syrah was. Wow. I'm like, what is this? Syrah? You can't even know cab or something? A Syrah? Whatever. So one of the traditions we do is we get plastic cups.
My goodness.
We walk down to the water. We sit right on the ocean and watch the sunset and drink wine. And we took that. It was a BV Syrah. And it was kind of an epiphany. You could taste the fruit in this wine. And from that point on, if I was going to make wine, I was going to start with Syrah. So that was the first wine I made with Syrah.
Wow.
So how many
great.
cases?
Go ahead, Leslie. What were you saying?
Oh, what I was going to ask is, so, starting from Syrah to now, how many cases do you produce, and what other varietals do you produce?
Too many. So yeah, so that's a problem. So we've ramped up to 3,000 cases a year, and we've been probably vacillating between 2,500 and 3,000, just depending on market. We're growing as a company. So, when you first start out, the goal was let's do 500 cases the first year, 1,000, then 15, then 2,000. And we did that, unfortunately, not really being embedded in the wine. I mean, I'm a creative director by trade. I have a degree in architecture. So not being embedded in the wine industry, we got a little ahead of ourselves. Like production exceeded sales. So it's like trying to get those to equate. That's the magic, when you can get them to equate. But we've had a steady growth pattern. Our retail presence has grown dramatically in the past couple of years, and our wine club has grown dramatically in the past couple of years. So we're just trying to figure out, it's not even just equating the number of cases, it's equating the number of cases of what. Because certain things are going to sell in certain markets. And we're just really learning how to dial that in and how to separate it. That's a whole nother thing. You're selling your labeled wine at Bevmo, and they're buying it a pallet at a time, and they're discounting it that. I can't even compete with my own wine. So we're learning how to separate. So we've got our reserve label now, which is strictly tasting room and wine club. And then the classic label is for what we call our mass market wine. So it's learning all that. And I have some marketing experience. It's once you've learned it, it's I won't say it's easy to do. It's clearer to do.
Right.
But anyway, so that, I hope that answers the question. I didn't get too far off track.
Oh, it does. So what year was the first Syrah produced? Uh-oh.
I'm going to say it was 2000. Now, you talking about home or commercial?
No, the one that you said that you went down by the ocean.
Oh, no, see, that was a BV Syrah. So that was a gift given to me,
right,
that if I was going to make wine ever, that's what I wanted to make. So
Okay.
I think it was around 2003.
That was 2004.
We made our first Syrah. And interesting, we don't even have Syrah on the menu today. But we do have Syrah in our Rhone blend called De Brevet, and also in our Rosé called Rosé de Brevet. They're both GSs. So they're both a part of what we do. But we don't have a single varietal Syrah on the menu today.
Oh, okay.
Quiz about that this weekend. Like, where's the Syrah? Okay. But we have so many others, and that goes back to the question. At one point this summer, we had 7 whites on the menu.
Wow.
Whites.
Wow.
At one point. We had Pinot Gris, Pinot Grigio, Muscat Canelli, Viognier, Chardonnay, Rosé of De Brevet. What am I missing? Pinot Blanc. It just goes on and on. So we need to refine that a little bit, and we've got, I don't know how many reds. And I just actually redid the classic menu today. There's 7 reds on the classic side, and at least 2 whites and 4 or 5 reds on the reserve side, plus the 4 whites on the first page. So, yeah, too many is the answer to that question.
Oh, I love it.
It's an interesting dynamic being this size winery, because it allows you a lot of flexibility to bottle. I don't use a truck. Well, we use a truck on rare occasions, but we have our own equipment, so we bottle our own stuff, and we can bottle small lots, big lots, whatever we want, whenever we want. So it gives you so much flexibility.
Yeah.
Do a 50 case slot of reserve Chardonnay.
Oh,
And it's not a big deal. So that's what gets us into trouble, I think, or gets me into trouble.
So you mentioned that you have a degree in architecture, and and I read that you designed your tasting room. What was the inspiration and the whole process of designing your tasting room? Because Glennis raves about it.
Well, okay. So, you know, there was never a goal to be something or like somebody. We didn't want to be in an Italian villa or a French chateau. This is just us. This is just who we are. The barn comes from, we've always wanted a property with a barn on it. Well, okay. So now we got a barn. The shed that's on the other side of the room was literally a shed I built for some property in Southern California. It's going to be a garden shed. It's just an eclectic mix of things we like. And there are some things that have stories. The large carpet, I don't know if I told you, Glennis, was in my house when I was in kindergarten. It's an old, large Karastan rug that's still in the family. So it really wasn't a purposeful, let's design it. It really was sort of an evolution of just who we are and what we have. Not anything more, really.
I think that's what makes it so comfortable and quaint and inviting, because it does make you feel like you are sitting amongst friends and family, just having a glass of wine, just kicking back. The way he has the couches set up, and then there was one armoire type chair or
the little Italian, not the Italian, the antique settee. That's just something my dad says, I don't want this. You want it? And I'm like, okay. It's not like we shop for it. It's like, all right, I'll take it. It's just, we don't treat, okay, so part of the evolution of longevity, when we started as a wine club, while we were both working full time, we were on the road every weekend of the month trying to find wines to fit in the club. Wow. So we literally visited hundreds, if not thousands, of wineries in California. And we learned a lot doing that. We learned how to treat people and how to not treat people. And one of the main things, I mean, we learned we'd walk into some tasting rooms, for whatever reason, they wouldn't even look.
Exactly. Been there.
They wouldn't even look. And it's like, you just don't treat people that way. So for us, it's the opposite. It's like, we're not trying to, oh, no, you can't go back there. That's just it's like, no, you come in, you make yourself at home, you get comfortable, you sit, you stay as long as you want. If you want to bring in some food from the barbecue, bring it on in, have a good time, and stay as long as you want. That's how people should be treated. So that was a real valuable lesson. And I think that kind of reflects on what Glennis saw when she was there. Exactly.
Because I was telling the other ladies that how I just ditched the spirit taste. I was like, oh, I'm going with Phil. Detour.
Very cool. And actually, the association, Chris said, she thought that was fantastic. She said, that's actually really cool. Is that an Amarum shirt you got on?
Huh?
What's on your sleeve? On your sleeve. Yep.
Yeah.
That's where I get my corks. Okay. So anyway, no, it was a good time. We had a great time.
Yes, we did. We had a ball. How's your wife doing?
She's doing good. She's in Tulsa right now. So me and the press are just batching it. I don't know if he'll come in here or not. Come here, Boo.
I was going to ask you about the pup.
I know. It's on the list. I saw. Come here, Boo. Come here.
Well, Phil's getting the pooch. The Deborah Vay is named after his wife, Deborah. So,
nice.
That's where Deborah Vay comes from.
Come here.
Yeah,
come here.
I learned that when I did my detour too. You know me, I was just like, I'm going over there for.
There's the pup. Oh my gosh, so cute. Oh my God, look at that face.
He's adorable.
Oh. So you have to tell us all about the pup, please.
Okay. The pup is 9 years old now. Oh, Boo.
Oh my gosh.
9 years old. There you go. How you doing, Boo?
Oh my
You doing
gosh.
okay? I'm sorry, we woke you up from your nap.
Oh.
You need a little taste of wine, don't you, baby?
Yeah. He's like, where's my dinner? That's what he's talking about. All right, but try to get you up.
And so you have one of your wines you named after your pup, Preston.
Yes. So it's spelled with two S's and a capital T, like you're pressing a ton of grapes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I spelled that. Preston, he has his. Do I have a bottle? I don't think I have a bottle. Yes, he has his own. And it was because we have a wine called Philosophy and a wine called De Brevet. And people, well, where's the dog's wine? I'm like, really? You don't make dogs? Really? No, I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. We're sold out of one and the other's not ready to release. So yeah. Anyway, I was a big dog guy. And if I'm talking too long about this stuff, y'all cut me off.
I have a dog, so no, go. Please go.
Okay. I've always been a lab guy. Well, Deborah has a doctor who had a Havanese. That's what he is, a Havanese.
Oh, okay.
His name was Louis. And where she worked at the Chamber of Commerce in Danville, her doctor would loan them the dog, it was all ladies, for like a play date for these ladies at the Chamber of Commerce.
What?
So Louis would go hang out at the Chamber of Commerce for a day. She sent us pictures of Louis on the desk. I'm like, look, we both work. We both work like, come on, really? Well, then all of a sudden, one of her coworkers in the chamber. Well, Louis' breeder just had another litter. So, yeah, okay. Well, Deborah really, really likes Louis. I know, but we're working full time. It's hard. It's tough. A couple of days later.
Here it goes.
Well, what if she could take it to work every? Okay. Okay. All right. That would be nice. That'd be great.
Problem solved.
Let me think about it. I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. A couple of days later. Did you call the breeder? No. Call the breeder yet. Dang, you got to call the breeder. She's only got 2 left. Okay, I'll call the breeder. So I call the breeder, and she starts, like, drilling me like I'm with the lights and the camera and I'm in jail or something. Like, who are you? Where do you live? How many kids do you have? How many bedrooms? What's the house like? Do you have a yard? I just want to know if the dog's available. That's all I wanted to know. But she's the breeder. Okay. All right. Take a deep breath. I said, send me a picture. It was over. She sent me a picture of the 2 of them. And Havanese, when they're little, they look like little tiny Ewoks. Like, would not believe. And I saw that picture, like, I'm screwed. Because there's no way on earth that I would ever live it down if I saw that picture and didn't get the dog. So I had the breeder surprised at the winery with both of them, Teddy and what became Preston. She picked Preston. And so he was literally born in 2008. We got him when he was 6 weeks old. So he was at our first commercial harvest of our own in our own facility.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
There the entire time.
Wow.
So he's way more popular than I'll ever be. We had a magazine come to interview Deborah and I. I may have told Glenn, I says, come to interview us. He's in, they got the photographer and they're taking pictures. Well, the magazine comes in the mail. We're not in it.
What?
No.
The dog is on the cover.
Oh my
on
God.
the cover of the magazine.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, exactly. So I can sit here and I can leave.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God.
No, he was Mr. November in the SPCA Little Critters calendar in 2014.
Goodness.
And he was in Wine Dogs USA, the Wine Dog book. He's in Wine Dogs USA 3, the blue book.
Wow.
I didn't know there was such a book. Is it like a calendar?
No, it's a big, thick book of winery dogs across the USA with these cool pictures of them and descriptions and their favorite food and favorite things to do wrong. And it's a really cool book.
Wow.
How cute is that?
That is adorable.
Yeah. Isn't that dog?
Prosecco was probably in that one.
There's a lot. I mean, this is the third one for the U.S.
Oh.
So they keep coming out.
Wow.
So that's Preston's story. I hope that satisfied the dog lovers in all of us.
So, did you, when you were thinking about which varietal to make the Preston wine out of, how did that play? Well, what decision-making process did you use, or which varietal did you decide to be the Preston wine?
Okay, so I know this is going to be a little bit of a stretch, but just run with me. If you look at a Burgundy bottle, to me, the shape of a Burgundy bottle is more feminine.
Okay, sure.
If you look at a Bordeaux bottle, the shape of a Bordeaux bottle is more masculine.
Right.
So Deborah's wine is a Rhone blend. It's in a Burgundian bottle, and that's what she is. Philosophy is a Bordeaux blend, and it's in a Bordeaux bottle, and it's more manly. Well, he's a male dog.
Mm-hmm.
So we just continued that sort of theme, and we try to do sort of opposite banks, I guess, left and right bank between Philosophy and Preston. So they don't mimic each other; they're kind of opposite each other.
Oh, okay.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's actually very interesting.
It's probably more than you wanted to know.
So are you and your wife both winemakers, or is one more the taster or the blender? What role do you guys play?
Well, when it comes to Deborah Vay, she's the boss.
Good answer.
That's got her name on it. Everything else is pretty much me. But when it comes to that, she has a little bit more weight when it comes to the final blend. But for the most part, and I won't say she's not a winemaker, but we did do things together from day one. Mm-hmm. We pressed together. We used to pick grapes. Yeah, never again. But we used to do everything together, and still, even to this year, I mean, she's dealing with some medical issues. She still is up on the sorting table sorting grapes.
Wow.
She still jumps in where she can. So she knows the process. She's familiar with the process. We literally learned it together, so it's not anything she's unfamiliar with. At this point, when you're doing 50 tons or more a year, it's more my role than hers.
Oh, wow. Outstanding. So, did you have any more questions about this before we, Sarita, before we move into Journey?
Oh, we haven't started yet?
I don't have a question. I know you asked Sarita, but I'm going to speak up. I was stalking your webpage or trolling it. I guess that's the right way to call it now.
Well,
but I noticed that you had a coat drive going on, which I just thought that was so wonderful and endearing. And can you just tell us how that came about?
Yeah, for several years, we've been one of the locations for one warm coat. So every year we're a drop-off location for one warm coat. And I forget what church is, it's really around the corner from the winery. Once the drive is over, they all go there. I mean, this room is just filled with coats. So we participate in that year after the year as we do Toys for Tots. That's another yearly, which that's just, I mean, this year, I mean, I took a truckload of toys over for Toys for Tots. So we do try to give back to the community when we can. It's the right thing to do.
Wow. Nice.
Mm.
So.
Nice. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
So that's wow. Okay, so Sarita, did you?
No,
Have
no,
any-
I am good. Go for it.
So I was telling Leslie and Sarita as well about you being, I think, one of 5 in the Journey Between the Vines Black winemakers documentary. Can you
Right.
tell us, them and some of the listeners about that particular project and how it came about, and the folks who are the other 4, excuse me, the other 4 Black winemakers?
Yeah, I can. So Marcy Jones, which I think most of you've heard of, she's sort of pioneered the project. It started out as an extension of another project, and then it sort of morphed onto its own. I think it started off as an extension of Red, White, and Black, and that was really about the Oregon minority winemakers. And I think it included other minorities as well. And then it sort of spun off into what it is today, which actually I came up with the title. It's called Journey Between the Vines, the Black winemaker's story. And it's literally about the history, and it's documenting 6 winemakers' journeys. It's definitely 6.
Okay.
So Bertoni from Abbey Creek Cellars in Oregon is one. I'm another. Theodora from Theopolis is another. Raymond from Indigenine. Donna Jones from Darjean Jones. And Chris Christensen from Bodkin Wines are the 6. Which is really kind of interesting. It's just funny how paths cross. I had lunch with Chris last spring or something like that. This one vineyard we buy fruit from, the owner does a very, very cool thing. Everybody that buys fruit, he has them bring some of their wine to a luncheon that he holds in Calistoga.
Wow.
And Chris and I both get our Muscat Canelli from this vineyard. So it's amazing to collaborate, on my level with even somebody like Chris, or there were some people there that are just gods in the industry. But you're the same people for the same reason,
right?
And you're in the place doing the same thing at the same time, which is really, really cool. So. So anyway, that's the first time I actually met Chris. I had talked to him earlier about his wines and his processes, but that's the first time I met him. So those are the 6. We did hold a blending session, which was filmed probably about a month and a half ago at my winery at Longevity to do a signature blend for the movie. And that blend, unfortunately, Donna couldn't make it. Her house burnt down in the fires.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
That's awful.
Yeah. So she couldn't make it. And then Chris, he had a baby the night before the fire started. So, yeah. So they had their hands full and they couldn't make it. But everybody else was there. Bertoni flew down. The producer, obviously Marcy was there. The director was there. Theodora, Raymond, myself. Who's the 4th? Who am I missing? Is that 4? Yeah, that is 4. Anyway, we came up with a blend, and we're moving forward to bottle that blend as a signature bottle for the movie.
Are you all gonna have a launch party?
That's a good question for Marcy.
At the Swirl Suite, invited on the red carpet.
That's a good question for Marcy. I'm sure there will be something. Like I said, she's a producer. I'm just one of the 6 that's trying to help out, where I have some talent that can help, I'm trying to help out where I can.
Wow.
That's
Outstanding.
amazing.
So,
Outstanding. I can't wait. Is there an estimated time frame for when it's going to be released? The movie or the
some footage has been shot. As far as I don't think there's enough footage quite yet. It didn't really, I don't think it got rolling quickly enough before harvest hit to get as much as they needed. So will they wait till next harvest, or will they try to, that I'm not sure of at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
Another good Marcy question.
Right. Well, listeners, stay tuned. So we'll be tweeting about that and putting it all on social media as well. I can't wait. I'm excited.
So are the listeners, I'm seeing the three of you. What do the listeners see?
They'll see what you see.
They'll see you.
All of us. They'll see all of us.
Oh, so they'll see 4 pictures instead of 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, y'all big. You're right here. I got a 27-inch. You know, it's you're right here.
Wow.
So Phil, where can everybody follow you? And is the wine club, and tell us where people can find your wines.
That's a good question.
For the most part, we do have some presence in Florida. We have some presence in Maryland.
In Maryland?
Yeah, we're in Maryland.
Yeah, where?
Mostly the Air Force bases, Aberdeen Proving Grounds. Gosh, that's again another good Marcia question, because she's the one that handles those. She's the rep for those locations.
Okay.
But we're in like 4 Army and Air AFIS bases in right now, and we're distributed by Atlantic in Maryland.
Okay.
So we're in a few other locations. I'm not sure of exactly all of them. I just know I ship it a pallet at a time to Atlantic. I did my part. As far as the exact.
We'll have to take a road trip. We'll have to drive. It's north of us. So we'll have to drive up to Aberdeen.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
And Marcia, she'll do pourings at Aberdeen and the other bases also. I think she did one right before Thanksgiving. And like I said, in Florida and in California, we're, retail presence. We're in a couple dozen Bevmos, half dozen Whole Foods, half a dozen Safeways, half a dozen Total Wine, and we're trying to get in Total Wine in Maryland because that's their home base. And soon we are in the process of designing a store for eBay.
Wow.
That looks like my rosé you just had, Sarita. No, so Amazon, which we've been a part of, is eliminating their wine program, and eBay is trying to pick up the pieces and run with it.
Oh, okay.
So actually, Marcy garnered a meeting in eBay, and the next thing you know, eBay was at Longevity. So they're back in January, so we can put a store together for eBay. So that's another place you can get it. As far as the wine club, we're really refining states we can and can't ship. UPS and FedEx are really, let's just say, tightening their belts.
Right.
As far as where you can and can't ship. So it's interesting, as a winery owner, what comes first, the sales or the long process, paperwork and money to get the permits to ship to a state? They're obviously 50. So
that's a full-time job in itself.
That's a full-time job in itself. So we ship to, we're refining where we can and can't ship. But the wine club, and we've got a great club with hundreds and hundreds of members. It's 2 bottles or 4 bottles a quarter. You can get 2 whites, 2 reds, 1 of each, or all 4 selections that are chosen for that quarter. And it's 20% off wine all the time, no matter what. And there's a lot of cool club benefits, especially if you're in the area. We just had last weekend our December release party, which is always sold out, even though it's not even sold, because we do Sunday more of December more of a family potluck. So everybody brings something.
Oh, wow.
There's no charge. So you've got 30, 40 people bringing different foods. There's tons of food. We do a white elephant gift exchange, an ugly sweater contest. So it's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of member benefits. We do a library. We started this year. We had our first annual library auction.
Oh.
Ooh.
Cool. We pulled out library wines. We created lots, and I pretended to be an auctioneer for a day. So.
Oh, a fill of all trades. A fill of all trades.
Well, you know what? I've said this before. This industry, it's kind of like the culmination of everything you've ever done and more. I don't care. You had a little bit of plumbing experience. It comes in hand. You know, in the bathroom, it comes in hand. All that stuff comes in hand because it's fixing things. Equipment goes down, plumbing goes down. How do you get past this with the equipment you have? So it's always a challenge. It's never, like I said, it's never the same. It's never the same. It's always changing. It's always different, which is good. It's consistently challenging.
So I had a question. So what's the price point for most of your wines? What's the range?
The retail price point for our wines range from 22 to 42 right now. So we're known in the Valley as not, I mean, there are wines in the Valley over 200, not many. We're just trying to, and again, we're trying to refine our presence as far as defining what is in retail. Retail has a sweet spot. And if you're going to sell into retail, you really got to sell in that sweet spot, but then you can't compete with yourself. So we're really trying to separate our retail presence of wine from our tasting room, tasting room wine club presence. So I'll say, our retail presence of wines probably go from 22 to maybe 28 or 30.
Wow.
And then our reserve goes from maybe 26 to 42. And that's kind of an average of where we're at.
Wow. Well, so your marketing experience helped very much with because I was telling Sarita and Leslie before you got on about what drew me to your table was the loop that was going on your iPad with all the product placement. I was like,
right.
Oh my gosh, nobody else has this. Let me go. I was like, oh,
that definitely.
Oh my gosh, let me go talk to him. So
it's a piece of the puzzle. It's not the piece. It's just a small piece of brand presence and brand recognition, and it's just something that I do in the Valley that I don't know that anybody else does in the Valley. So that every little bit helps. Every little bit helps.
Years to product placement.
Dang.
Your glass is empty.
Oh, that is funny.
And so how did you get your product placed on different shows? Was there someone who knew somebody, that type of thing? Or did you contact someone directly and just shoot your shot?
Relationships are big in every channel of business. So where I was a creative director for 13 years, one of our sales people had a best friend who owns a placement agency, and she put us together.
Wow.
And that placement agency, I just ship her tons of stuff, and all of a sudden it's on TV.
There you go. There you go.
So, all the different shows that you saw on that iPad were literally through that one placement agency.
Wow.
That's
Outstanding.
amazing.
That
I didn't even know that was a thing, a placement agency. Wow.
You know, and it's big business because when you look at some of these movies and you see sometimes if you see it shadowed out, you know they didn't have any product placement or like you said, a placement agency taking care of their business, they shadow out. Or if you see a spot that has, you know, Coca-Cola, longevity, you're like, okay, yeah, they paid to have that in
they
that
paid
movie.
to have it. And if you see the Heineken bottle that's turned around so you can't see it, it's like they want you to Heineken, but they don't have a relationship with Heineken to place that bottle.
Right.
And you never know. Heineken may say, we didn't want that bottle to be shown on your show.
Right.
So that's a whole nother area. So you have to really be placed. But she's done a really good job in really having our product shown. I mean, not just the back or the side, but having the heart prominent.
Right.
Exactly. And it's a beautiful bottle too. So, you know, like where she had it in some of those movies, I was like, oh, that's just perfect. Because you got the heart. I was like, oh. I mean, literally it caught my eye. I was like, oh my gosh, this is outstanding. So
well, the heart, again, I'm in here.
Logo.
I'm in here in my office looking around. You guys can't see everything I can see. The heart, I designed the heart because I've been giving Deborah these glass hearts for Valentine's Day for 20-something years. So if you look at the heart real closely, it's made up of hearts and grapes, which is pretty much our life. You know, like I said, I'm looking around. Let me see. Oh,
Give me a say you have to show it, and I just I have a mouse pad with it on it.
Oh, okay.
It is hearts and grapes. Yep, it sure is.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Beautiful.
That's so nice.
That's heavy.
That's a great story too, man. You have a brother or a son?
And actually,
Really? No, I'm serious. Now that we moved on, this is an
that's Preston's label.
Oh my gosh. That's so adorable.
I do have a brother, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Why is that always the case? Oh my gosh.
Oh crap! This just went out, didn't it? Get in trouble for that.
Sarita, you're gonna have to do your editing.
There you go. Oh, so it's not live?
No,
Perfect.
It's not live. No, I'll edit it out.
Excellent. Okay. I could have gone and gotten a glass of wine in. Shoot. Anyway.
Darn. Oh, man.
I'll tell you about another little project we did this year. For the first time, we commercially made with a distiller a batch of Nocino. Which Nocino, Nocino, is an Italian walnut liqueur.
Ooh.
It's made from green walnuts, picked on the 23rd of June at night by an expert woman, barefoot in the tree.
Wow.
Then the nuts are left out all night, so they're impregnated with the magical dew of that particular night. And the druids would build a bonfire to dance around the nuts so the witches would not steal them. They're the people who used to paint themselves blue. And there's talk of making a magical potion that allowed them to speak to elves and fairies.
Why are you laughing? Wait.
Seriously. Wait.
Drinking. I'll let you know. People been drinking, but that's okay.
So when they were dancing around, what were they smoking at the time?
That I don't know. But it literally is true lore that goes back to John the Baptist in the days of the Druids. And if you hashtag Nocino, especially around June 23rd, you see all these people with glass jars with their chopped walnuts all over the world, which,
Really?
yeah, oh, absolutely. All over the world. All over the world. And we made a commercial batch. The good news is it's ready. The bad news is with my license, I can't sell it. So, yeah, I know. Exactly. Because it's 30% alcohol.
Oh,
okay.
And it's considered a liqueur.
A spirit.
Mm.
Oh
Yeah.
man, we could have probably tasted it.
Actually, we at the release party, because it's a private event, did taste it, but I couldn't sell it.
Right. Wow.
So my friend with the distillery, because we just split the batch. It was my recipe. He distilled the spirits for it. I did the initial blending. He did the final blending, and we're just going to split it. The downside is I can't sell it. He can. He's not really selling the crap out of it. It'll be gone by the end of the month on his side. I'm still not sure how I'm going to deal with mine. But anyway, it's a fun thing that nobody in the Valley has. And it literally comes from the vineyard where our Chardonnay and Zinfandel come from. There's this row of oak trees that the owner has, and I'm like, Splend, dude, can I get some nuts? And he's like, yeah, get the ones on the ground. The green shells already come off of them. It's just, I'm like, I don't want those. I want those. So I made a real small batch for fun, and I shared it with Mike, the guy who owns the distillery, and then we made a commercial batch this year. So anyway, something else fun. Something else on the menu that I can't have, but another varietal I shouldn't be messing with. But anyway, it's all in good fun.
Oh, most definitely. Wow, that's interesting.
That's amazing.
As long as those little elves and fairies don't start marching around, we'll be okay.
Yeah. I had a little bit before bed last night.
Okay. The nightcap.
A little nightcap.
At 30% ABV, you might start seeing some elves in.
That's right. That's right. You don't have a glass. You just have a little. It's like port. You just have a little.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Right. Wow. That is outstanding.
Oh,
well, man, this has been fun.
This was so fun. Phil, thank you so much for joining the Swirl Suite.
Are you done? There's other stuff on the list you didn't even ask me about. We can edit that part out. Rose like, we gotta go eat. We can't be here with you all night.
No, that is hilarious. No, that's not it. We just don't like to overstay our welcome, I guess. With our guests.
Me and Preston are batching it. I'm not going anywhere. If you want to hear about the accident, you don't want to.
Sure. If you feel like talking about it.
I got a whole bottle. Let's do it.
Dang.
Go get your bottle, Phil.
Yeah, go get some wine, Phil. It's fine. So everybody, I found this article that talked about Phil's accident where a barrel fell on top of him. An empty barrel. He was moving. He'll tell you the rest of the story, but he was maneuvering and trying to move with like a tractor or whatever you use to move barrels, and one of them fell on his head.
Forklift?
I think so.
Forklift?
Yeah.
And fell on top of his head, and something happened where he lost mobility in his limbs, and luckily he regained it maybe like a few weeks to a month later, and he was able to walk out of the hospital that he was admitted to probably a month later. But
it was what a story.
yeah, so I'm sure he'll get more detail, but I thought it was an amazing story. Just for I don't even know how much an empty barrel weighs, but
they're heavy.
Yeah.
They're heavy. I don't know the exact, poundage or grams or whatever. Yeah. But man.
Yeah.
So I had to go to the cellar.
Oh. What? You should have took the camera with you. No, I'm just kidding.
The camera's on the 27-inch. I can't carry
I know,
it.
that's what
So this is a 2009 philosophy.
Wow, that's pretty.
Pretty bottle.
So I wish I could share it with you, but
Okay.
That's
Well,
okay.
we'll have
I'll
to
pour
order some.
myself.
One day we're gonna have taste vision.
Stop giving people ideas, Leslie. Let's
I know, stealing our ideas.
you gotta hold on to that.
Right. Hold on to that. Exactly. So
Oh.
go ahead, Sarita. So what are we talking about? The barrel falling
Yeah.
accident.
So on April 11, 2010, April 10th, 2011, I just got back from burying my grandmother,
Oh.
literally on Saturday, and I was at the winery on a Sunday. And you all have all been in wineries, you've seen barrels stacked.
Mhm.
Well, this was our smaller space where we first started, and we were stacking 4 high. So the 4th high is 14 feet or whatever
Ooh.
it is up there. It was 4 high when you were in there.
Mm-hmm.
So but to move them in a small space, you got to move them somewhat with a pallet jack before you can unstack them with a forklift.
Oh, okay.
So I was moving a stack of 8 barrels, they're 2 side by 4 high, and I was trying to get them between 2 other tall stacks. I didn't realize, but the 2 on top were empty. So it just didn't seem to be fitting in the space right, and I really didn't know why, and I was just trying to push it in the space. Well, what I didn't know is that the barrels on the side pushed on the back barrel, which pushed on the front barrel, and pushed it off of the stack. So I didn't know it was off the stack until it hit me right there. Right square in the head. And it's good that I didn't know, because if I'd have sensed it and turned,
It have broke your neck.
it'd have been a whole different story. But it was a straight compression injury. I just remember this thing hit me in the head, and then just the noise. I mean, barrels hitting floor, barrels bouncing off cement, head hitting floor, just waiting. I remember laying on my back, just waiting for the world to stop spinning, because the world was
Oh my gosh.
Was anybody with you, or you were by yourself?
by myself.
Oh my God.
So you can edit out whatever part of this you want. So anyway, I said, okay, I just got to wait for it to stop spinning so I can get up. And I tried to move, and I couldn't move. And I'm like, I felt like my arms were down on my, right in front of me, laying in front. Well, I looked to my left, one arm's over there, it's stretched out this way. And the other arm's stretched out, they were stretched flat out, but they felt, so your brain remembers the last position they were at on the pallet jack. That's what your brain remembered, is where they were. Yet I'm looking over there and seeing my arms. Or I'm like, this isn't good. So it's a head injury. So there's blood. And I mean, there's blood.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. Oh, yeah.
We all Oh my gosh.
So I was pumping wine at the time. So the pump's going full blast. The stereo's going because it's Sunday. I knew there was a guy who frequents the warehouse next door. I tried yelling for help between songs on the stereo.
Wow.
Nothing. Nothing. So I'm like, well, okay. Being fairly good intelligence. I couldn't move anything from my neck down, but I could move my neck. But my neck was strong enough that I could throw my body from being on my back to on my front. And that's when I saw this stuff on the ground. All I know is it came out of my head. I didn't know what it was.
Oh, man.
I didn't know. I mean, at that point, you don't know if it's brain matter because it was not just liquid. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but it's not good. But I noticed my iPhone had fallen out of my pocket. So I was able to get my head over the iPhone and try to use my nose to push the home button and slide. The blood drowned the phone.
Oh.
So let's see. Nobody can hear me. My only form of communication within my reach is my iPhone. That's now gone. So only option I had was to try to get back on my back to minimize blood loss until somebody found me. That's all I had left. That's it.
So who found you?
Not you, huh?
I'm just like, who walked in on you and like didn't freeze up and oh my gosh.
Well, so just at that point, it's like, okay, if this is it, what thoughts do you want in your mind when you go? So you just try to think of the good things
right
for your life. That's what you try to do. So this was around, I think, 10:30 when it happened, and we opened at noon. And normally Deborah would come rolling in about 11:30, but I had her run some errands.
Oh, God.
This just gets worse.
I'm about to start gulping wine just listening to this story.
Drink out the bottle. I'll take the bottle.
It's a good thing. It's like those shows where they tell you, but you never see the person until the end.
Yeah.
I'm glad we can see you.
Me too. So she comes rolling in about 11:45. I hear the door open, and she lets Preston in.
Preston finds you.
So Preston comes back there, and he comes back and he's like, "Ooh, I'll be over here."
So he didn't start barking or anything?
No, he wouldn't come around to where the was. She goes back to the car to unload it.
Oh, Jesus.
So,
It's a movie in itself. A movie.
Oh, my God.
So she finally comes in, and I said, "You better call 911 or I'm going to die." And she comes back, and she sees, and she's, oh my gosh, she goes and gets the towel. She didn't know where to put the towel. That's how,
Right.
she didn't know where to even put the towel. And she's trying to put the towel somewhere. She's trying to call 911, and they're going through, well, what's your emergency, man? Just get over here. What's your address? Well, how is? Get over. So I'm listening to this whole thing. Luckily, the paramedics were pretty close at the Livermore Airport, which was really close.
Oh, okay.
And they were doing construction around the streets where the water was. So I just remember laying back there where she's trying to run between the back roll-up and the street because she wanted to make sure they could get. So I just hear her heels.
Click, click, click.
Click, 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 click. So they finally get there. I was in ICU until Thursday night. And I don't remember a whole lot of ICU.
You think?
Huh?
I said, you think you don't remember?
I don't remember. It was just a weird experience. Like the room keeps changing.
Oh my God.
Because you're on so many drugs at that point. And I do remember them trying to cram me in the MRI machine, and the guy's like, "He won't fit."
Oh.
My shoulders were my shoulders were too wide for the MR. Whatever. Anyway, I was there for till Thursday. Friday, got transferred to Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, and I was in inpatient rehab for 3 weeks and 2 days. Because nothing broke, I didn't have to have surgery.
What?
What happened is, so the barrel hit so square, it compressed my spine. But what happens, your spinal cord swells up so big inside its cavity, it doesn't allow signals back and forth.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Like a protection mechanism.
So I had to learn everything from scratch. I mean, I'm talking about going to the bathroom. Scratch. The first time they stood me up after a few days, it was the most foreign, like,
oh my God.
what? So I had to learn to walk again. So anyway, it is what it is. It could have been a lot worse. I'm happy it isn't. I don't have 100% of dexterity in my hands again or range of motion, but everything else works. So
That's an after dark.
I can't.
That's an after dark episode.
so
Thank
we're
God.
all-
Thank God.
we're all happy for that. So, like I don't cry over it. People go, well, did you burn the barrel? Oh, why? It wasn't the barrel's fault. So,
Wow.
so we still have that barrel. I actually Instagrammed it because I wrote guilty on it
Oh.
and said, does anybody remember this? So.
Oh wow, that's
Oh
man.
my goodness.
What a story. What a testimony, right? Really.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
So.
Well,
What
Like
was
I
the
said,
what
it
was
is
the
what
fir-
it is.
what was the first thing? Do you remember the first thing you did when you left the hospital? Was it something that
do.
you wanted to do?
I do remember the first thing. And actually, even in the hospital, it's like, I'm in a wheelchair. A lot of the first part is, do we want to even continue? Just about to grow and expand. The compression injury, I had the potential of getting 100% of everything back. And knowing that potential and knowing that I still had a palate, that was very important. So, yes, let's move forward. But I'm in the hospital. No wine. No wine. No wine. So I craved like a Gurgit Chardonnay. I don't know why that was on my. I gotta have a Gurgit Chardonnay. So they allow you to go home for like an afternoon when you're getting ready to be released, just to make sure that there aren't any complications with your situations at home and how can we make it better if there are. And Deborah got me this Gurgit Chardonnay, and I had this Gurgit Chardonnay. It was the worst wine I'd ever had.
What?
All of the drugs and all of the things that I'd gone through had totally screwed up my palate. It was like, this is what I've been waiting on, but it wasn't the wine, it was me. It was that I had to readjust, so to speak. So it came back. So I wanted that shot, man. I wanted a shark, but that was my main thing.
wow.
Other than that, just getting back to work.
How long did it take for your palate to readjust?
Probably a month or so.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just pumped with so many. I mean, they had me on nerve drugs for the nerve pain, and first of all, none of them work. There's one
Oh my
called
God.
There's one of them called Neurontin, and I told the doctor, I said, just rename it not working, because so I got rid of that. Then they put me on Lyrica. I just decided to sort of live with nerve pain to some degree. I don't take anything for it at all.
Wow. 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 Oh my goodness. What a testimony again. Man, I can't even imagine. Well, at least, having a hard head helps.
Having a hard head helps. Having a hard head, absolutely. And actually, when I was in the hospital, I don't know if you found this, Rita, on Santa Clara Valley Medical Center in their rehab website, they did a documentary on me.
Oh, really?
Really?
It's called Stories About Coming Back.
Wow.
And it's the whole journey of, the whole thing, the whole thing. So they did, David Alvarado did a documentary on me when I was, because in all reality, I'm their miracle child.
Right.
Spinal cord wing, people don't get up and walk again.
Yeah.
But I walked out.
Wow.
It's amazing you stayed conscious that whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And people say, how long were you knocked out? And I'm like, I was never knocked out.
Right.
I mean, I was never knocked out.
Well, you know what? That doesn't surprise me, because if you think about it, when they do brain surgery, you're never fully under. Well, there's some surgeries where they can cut and do the brain. They want you somewhat lucid so they know that they're not damaging certain parts. So you might not know exactly when they cut, because you do have some painkillers, but it's like you are somewhat aware. So,
I learned a little bit more about that because I just had cataract surgery on both eyes. The anesthesia they use for cataracts is the same anesthesia they use for when you get a colonoscopy. It's not that you're out.
It's twilight.
You don't remember. You're there, and if he tells you to move, you can move. You don't remember is the difference.
Yep.
So it's kind of interesting. I'm like, really? Anyway. So they did a documentary. There's a couple articles when I was in there, but like I said, even with nurses on the wing, because you're on a spinal cord wing.
Wow.
So there are people. I mean, one of the guys in my room was a kid with two kids starting his life. He was either with the tree trimming company or SE. Anyway, he fell out of a tree when he got too close to a line. Is it? There's what they call complete and incomplete. Incomplete spinal cord is when there's still some communication. Complete means it's severed. It's not coming back. So most of the people on that wing were completes.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Woo. You got to count your blessings every day.
Telling you. I am telling you. Wow. Well, cheers to you, Phil. I mean, thank you for sharing that amazing story with us. I mean, wow.
Exactly.
But, yeah, it was my pleasure. It happened. It's just part behind us now. I mean, Deborah's battling something a whole lot worse than that. So, we're just trying to manage that. So
take it one day at a time. I know.
Yeah.
Wow. So on a lighter note, what's the deal with the minions behind you?
I'm glad you asked. I wanted to ask.
These are favorite. These are some of my favorite.
I'm a huge Minion fan. So these are my Minions. I'm a huge Minion fan, and I haven't seen the third one yet because I know somebody's going to give it to me for Christmas. So I'm holding off. I'm just holding up. But have you guys seen the first two?
No. I have not.
Oh,
I know.
Should we go watch it after this?
Oh my God, you have to watch Despicable Me.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't watch those other spin-off Minion. It's Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2.
Okay.
You have to watch it. It's hilarious. Because I forget what movies it were years ago that were animated where they started integrating adult humor that kids wouldn't understand.
Probably Shrek.
The Simpsons?
Maybe Shrek, but these are it's the same kind of thing where it just takes that totally unusual I left a note on the door. He's either going to find it or he's not.
And Preston's is like, hello.
You know, it's the I know what it is. It's the Golden State overnight. He's picking up cases of wine that need to be delivered, and I left a note. If this note is on the door, I'm in the middle of an interview. Go to the truck and get the cases of wine.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, Despicable Me, love the Minions. It's just, you know, I'm really eclectic. I have a lot of likes, but it's one of those. It's an escape.
Right.
It's so much of an escape. That's just anyway. So I have favorite characters. You know, those are
Snoopy is mine. So I totally understand. I can.
Who?
Snoopy. I'm a big.
I have a Snoopy shirt on.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a
a big
Snoopy Christmas
fan.
shirt.
See, I have two favorite Christmas movies: Charlie Brown
Charlie Brown
Sure.
Christmas.
and The Grinch.
Okay.
Yes, the
All
Grinch.
Right.
Those are it. The original of both. I'll accept the remade Grinch,
Right.
but it's still the original Grinch.
Yeah.
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
I think the
Sure.
first one came out in 1966.
Really?
Something
The
like
very
Wow.
first Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Yep.
Hmm.
I have the book. I have the movie.
Phil, did you finish all your Christmas shopping?
You know, it's funny you asked that. I was going to say, I think I answered what I did today. I was actually rapping the previous 2 hours because I am the master rapper here.
What?
Ah, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I am the master rapper here. I was rapping gifts, and then I came in here and prep for this. But I'm close.
Okay.
Close. There's a couple minor things, but I've been rapping and yeah,
That's right.
That's
so
awesome.
That's
I-
awesome.
pride in my rap.
All right. That was my first job when I was a teenager. I was a rapper at Williams Sonoma.
Oh, are you really?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yep.
Oh, don't make me go get. Oh, hang on.
Now you gotta show off.
I'm down the minion wrapping paper. No, I now got to go watch these movies.
The Grinch was just on this weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Where are they?
Yes.
Oh,
The Grinch and Max, his dog.
Oh my goodness. Wow, too bad Deb's not on so y'all can meet her. She is such a sweetheart too.
Oh.
His wife is such a sweetheart. She just welcomes you just like he does. I was
That's
like, we could have
awesome.
spent the whole excursion right there.
How pretty is that?
Oh.
That is gorgeous.
Oh man. I'm gonna ship my
Oh.
stuff to you in so you can overnight it back after you finish wrapping.
Yeah, I don't mess around. I do not mess around with my
That
rapping.
is so pretty.
Ain't no
Look at
time.
the edges. And look,
That's
the edges
perfect.
all crisp. I love it.
Oh my
That
god.
is
Good job.
That is really good.
That's outstanding.
Well,
All
thank you.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
So
man.
you need to train somebody up to be like you for longevity, wrap gifts, like minions. Like really, I'm saying, dude.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's only one of me. I'd like to say I got a twin, but like I said that part out. My son's probably closer to me than my brother, but he's got 2 kids and he's pretty happy.
Oh, okay. Oh, isn't that? Well, that's
nice.
good.
Oh,
That
that's
is
awesome.
good. Wow, man, this was
All right.
good.
What else can I answer for you ladies? 'Cause, yeah, I'm ready with all the questions.
Y'all have any more questions?
No, I think did we cover? Let's see. We talked
Oh,
about
we covered
that.
all of mine.
Do I need to look at the list?
No, I have them here. No.
Oh, I have one question for you, one parting question.
Yes.
So, someone who is interested in getting in the business, I know a lot of people approach us and say, how do you know, how do you start blogging? How do you start winemaking? What piece of advice would you give them?
You know, it's funny. We get that all the time at the winery. It is kind of funny because people will come in not knowing who Deborah is. It's like, God, this is so great. You know, I want your job. You have no idea what her job is. You want her job? Just pour you a little wine. That's her job. That's not her job. But it's interesting. I used to think making wine was if you make good wine, it's like make it and they'll come. Anybody can make wine. You can sell.
Oh, yeah.
The key. Selling wine is the key. There is so much competition.
Exactly.
It's not even funny. I mean, when I started, we were number 43 in the Valley. We're close to 60 now. There were only approximately 3,000 wineries in California when I started. I think there's over 6 now.
Wow.
If California were a country,
right,
be the 4th largest wine producing country in the world. So the only way you're going to make it, you've got to generate the revenue. And in this business, the only way you're going to generate the revenue is to sell your wine.
Right.
So you've got to make good wine, but you've got to be able to sell it. And there's a lot of people who make good wine, they can't sell it.
There you go.
So know how to sell. And like I said, I'm lucky to have had some experience in marketing, which has helped a lot. But you've got to be able to sell it. You really have to be able to sell it. You got to be a spokesperson. You got to be able to get up and talk in front of people, lots of people, answer questions intelligently. I won't go any farther than that. But I mean, that it really is the key to sustain a business. But as far as people wanting to get in, the very first piece of advice, find a winery near you. If you've got to work minimum wage, or the whole volunteer thing is a whole law thing that's kind of all screwed up now. But if you can just go and experience and learn, that is going to be key. You're going to learn 1,000 times more at a winery than you will in a book. 500 or you will at school. You just got to get in it and do it. And it's not like it's making beer or spirits where you can just start another batch next week. You only get grapes once a year. That's it. That up, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got. So learn the process. I mean, I had some really, really great mentors in the Valley. One of them, which has passed, which there's just rumors that I'm the new him, but that's not. Don't put that in. But it's kind of funny. There are mentors that have looked up to that got me started. One of them, he buys wine from me for his winery.
Wow. Wow.
Another one who is teaches wine at college, he asked me for advice.
Wow.
But from the business side, where he's got all the book smarts, I have street smart. So it works. It's a collaboration. And like I said, you use every little bit of whatever you've accumulated up until that point in some way, shape, or form. So you have to get your hands dirty. There's just no doubt. That's the first step. Learn the whole process. Even if you're not going to be the winemaker, you still need to know the process.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
But if you can sell it, the people who are the most successful in this industry, It's sold before the grapes are picked.
Mm.
Yeah. You know what? I believe that. I truly believe that.
It's true. It's true. You look at any of the cult wineries in, let's just say the U.S., was California for sure. The Harlan, Brayus, all Screaming Eagle. That's sold before the grapes are even touched.
Wow.
I have a question for you. How does social media play in your marketing, and do you have a platform that you like the most? Like, is it Instagram, is it Facebook, Twitter?
Okay, so I'm old. So, this whole social media thing, it kind of came a little bit behind me. I mean, so I'm trying to be better at it, but I'll say, so Deborah does Twitter and Facebook. I don't do Facebook. I don't have the room. Sorry, but I do.
I understand. I came kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
And they can attest to it.
Girl, I'm with you. I am with you. It's just one of those things. The business side of it, this is a 7-day-a-week gig. This isn't Monday through Friday. Mm-hmm. Go home, you have your weekend, you go out and have a picnic. None of that going on. So you're working 7 days a week anyway. Facebook, even my daughter-in-law asked me, "You're not on Facebook?" No, I ain't got no time for Facebook. I'm really trying to do a good job on Instagram. So I do the Instagram posts, mm-hmm. but I also do the website. I also do our newsletters, our email blasts. So Deborah does Facebook, she does Twitter, and I don't even know if there are any others. That's all. That's what we got. But yeah, the Instagram thing, for a longest time, it took my daughter-in-law, my son's wife. I mean, I'm like, hey, I got 25 followers. She's like, what? 25? You need to tag and hashtag. What is this hashtag thing? It was called the pound sign when I was growing up. What's a hashtag? What's up with that? Like it's brown. It's just different. It's just a different way of doing things. I mean, look, I embrace the whole technology totally. I mean, I even built my own cloud server from scratch. So I embrace the technology.
Wow. It's
just the social media aspect. It's just learning that. I mean, somebody said hire a teenager, and I totally believe it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, or millennial, somebody, right?
Yeah. Something. So I Instagram. I prefer Instagram because somebody told me you can just take a picture and not even have to say anything. It's not exactly that easy.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, right.
But it's still visual, which mm-hmm. is the kind of person I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So the whole visual aspect. I mean, if you look at all our posts, I try to post something that's visually interesting somehow, some way, and hopefully that gains some ground. So that's my whole social media mm-hmm. thing. Sorry to.
But what's interesting about your statement is that a lot of the social media platforms have kind of moved towards the model of Instagram by, you need more pictures and you need more video, and people are just not reading a whole lot of text anymore. So like Twitter had to reprogram itself mm-hmm. to follow their model to some extent. So
yeah, Twitter was a comment. Now it's getting more, I think, visually based, which I don't touch Twitter whatsoever. But I'll tell you what's interesting, because I have a background in photography also. I used to teach photography when I was in college.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
So I'm sorry, is that bad?
No, it's like what am I doing with my life? You have all these credentials.
Right.
It's just don't hold yourself back. I mean, that's what, if you want to learn something, don't say, oh, I don't think I can do it. People say, I don't think I can do it. That's the first thing you can do is know that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You can do it. I mean, I used to teach people how to sketch. Oh, I don't have an artistic bone in my body. That's crap. Can you see?
Mm.
Can you look at something and can you try to visualize what that would be on paper? It's so anyway, I fully believe go after it. Don't hold back. But the whole photography thing, I've gone from, film to digital to now, video, which is a whole nother world. Editing photos
yes.
is easy. When you get to video, there's all these other dimensions like time, space, audio, all this stuff. So I'm trying to embed myself. I've been working on a promotional video for 2 years. I just can't get it done. I don't have time to shoot the footage. I don't have time to interview myself. I mean, I got to just make time to do it.
Oh, wow.
It's just a time thing.
Wow.
It's a time thing.
What
So, I'm not on Christmas shopping.
What a story and what a journey, man.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Absolutely. Man.
Oh,
Well,
So
we
got some exciting things potentially coming in 18. Some real exciting things.
anything you can share before we go?
One I did, the eBay thing, is definitely on. I know Walmart has shown some interest, but those are grains of sand and a potential beach that may land on us.
wow.
So that I can't share.
Got you.
All right.
Totally makes
It's in the works. So I wish I could. I wish it was done so I could.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it's one of those things.
we totally
just
understand.
Awesome.
hard to get, not to get excited about it, but you can't get excited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
Well, we'll keep our eyes and our ears open in 2018. Sure.
your eyes and ears open.
Yeah.
Wherever any of you girls are, wherever you live, when you can just go down to almost any store and see it, then you know it's happened.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Phil, before we sign off, please tell everybody where they can find your Instagram, since that's your specialty. What's your handle?
I'm going to.
Is that what it's called? I think it's longevity_wines.
Okay.
I mean,
I think so
I
too.
think-
Let's see.
I got to put glasses on to see my.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I'm glad you, all information, sign up for our newsletter, which is just an informative newsletter on the website in the bottom left-hand corner of the front page. It just tells what's going on at the winery, what our releases are, any wine club, perks that are going on. We have like one day a year where we actually double the discount for everyone, or 2 days, one weekend, the weekend before Thanksgiving, because we give 10%, 20%, 40%.
Oh, wow.
If you buy a case. So it's 10%. Normally it's 5, 10, 20. 5% for 3, 10% for 6, 20% for a case. But for one weekend for everybody, it's 10, 20, 40. But that for wine club members, it carries through the whole month of November.
Wow.
So you get 40%
Wow.
by a mixed case of anything, mixed case or full case, through the whole. So I mean, there's just some of the things we do for our members. There's definitely some exclusives that nobody else gets. So definitely try to honor our members. They've been really good. They've been really loyal. It just grows so fast, and we, in terms of growth, I don't know how many we gain now, but it's in double digits a quarter, and we may lose one.
Wow.
So it just continues to grow, and I just gotta keep putting good wine out. There's certain wines, like I said before, about learning what you need to do, like I can't keep up with cab. I can't. I can't. But the last three cabs were 90 points or higher.
Wow.
Sense. So, it's those kind of things, and then we'll just try to keep the specialty varietals, Petit Verdot's, Cabernet Francs, that are basically just in the tasting room and for wine club. So.
Wow. Outstanding.
That's amazing.
Anyway, we're gonna keep plugging away.
Well, I will add all of the links that you mentioned to the description box of the show, and this will be on YouTube and anywhere you find your podcast. And Phil, again, thank you so much for joining the Swirl Suite tonight. We really appreciate you separating some time for us.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing your time with us.
Thank you. So totally my pleasure. Like I'll probably be sitting in this chair after you guys leave. So no, I enjoyed myself. I hope it came off okay, and hope your listeners enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marcy has already made the correction because I put on social media. I did 1 out of 5. I thought I'd written it down wrong, and Marcy said, "Cool beans, FYI, he's one of 6 winemakers in the documentary." So I'm like, "Thanks for correcting on Twitter. I made the correction on all other social media outlets."
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely 6. Look forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you again. We totally appreciate it. Please tell Deborah I said hello.
I shall. I'll definitely tell her. She'll be back sometime this weekend. So, all right, ladies.
All right.
Thanks.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Happy
holidays. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm Leslie Freelo with Vino 301, and you are sipping in the Swirl Suite.
This is Tanisha, Girl Meets Glass, and I'm sipping in the Swirl Suite.
I'm Glennis, and you are sipping in the Swirl Suite, and I am at Vino Noir. Enjoy.
Melissa, also known as the Liquor Lady, and